Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022. I'm Jeremy Crosby. Hope you had a wonderful day and glad you're tuning with us here on Talking Fitchburg. Got a great show coming up for you. We're going to check in with our assessor. Amy Mercer will be here to explain how the assessments are going for 2022. We'll break all that down for you coming up. Plus, we're going to check in with the Better Business Bureau, and Tiffany Schultz will be here talking back to school. Yes, we've turned into August. That means back to school. And we've got some tips all month long. Each week, she's going to give us a new back-to-school safety tip. Today, we're going to talk about avoiding ID theft on campus. You got some college or your sons, daughters are heading off to college. We want to make sure they stay safe. And of course, if you're already in college, you still can practice these great safety tips coming up. But first, we do got some headlines for you on this day. We start with in-person absentee voting. That continues here at City Hall. Absentee voting hours continue today through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. On Friday, we'll have an extra half hour from 7:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. to do in-person absentee voting. Requesting a ballot by mail, well, your time is running out really fast here, and you'll probably have to return it in person to get it here in time. But myvote.wi.gov is where you do that, and more information online if you need help with the election. 2022 reevaluation, open book and border review is going on currently, and coming up later on Talking Fitchburg, we will be talking with Amy, the assessor, about the reevaluation year. But this is the info we have. The assessment roll for the year is available during weekday hours now through August 10th. That's Wednesday, August 10th, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Property owners are able to make appointments for the open book by calling the assessor's office at 270-4235. Border review is scheduled for the 31st of August at 9 a.m. Anyone wishing to file an objection must do that with the clerk's department. All right, that does it for our headlines. Coming up next, we open up our digest. We'll check in with the assessor's department on the 2022 reevaluation year. Next, we're here on Talking Fitchburg.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from our assessing department, it is your assessor, and it is Amy Mercer. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us today. We wanted to get you earlier, but you know, you're busy, right? You're busy doing a lot of stuff there in the assessing department. But we're in the middle of open book, and more importantly, we do want to get the information out on how all of this works as you are working through this time, because transparency is important when it comes to understanding your assessment. And assessment assessors are out there to help you. Doesn't always feel that way, but they are here to help you, and our team is awesome. So Amy, let's jump into it first. The 2022 year was considered a reevaluation assessment year. What does that mean?
So there's two different types of assessment years. There's maintenance years and revaluations. A maintenance year means we review all the sales, we'll review building permits, fires, etc. But we do not adjust assessments based on markets. A revaluation, we do all of the steps in a maintenance year, but we do those additional steps of bringing assessments to the market value. So our goal in a revaluation is to set your assessment at the market value as of January 1 of that calendar year.
All right. It's good information to know the process of how it works. So we've established the reevaluation year, or what, whether it's reevaluation or it's a maintenance year. It was a reevaluation year. We're in the open book after you received all your assessments in the mail. We get into the open book, then board of review. Let's break down looking at an assessment. So you have an example of an assessment, and I told you, I said, we want to go through this as you see this, you open it up and you're like, what? So we want to break that down. So you open up that screen for us, and let's take a peek here at what we're looking at when it comes to our assessment.
All right. So this is an example of one of our assessment notices. So of course it's going to have the city logo and information on there, and it will state that this is a 2022 notice of assessment. This is not a tax bill. So make sure you understand that it's not a tax bill. This is just telling you where your new assessment is. It'll tell you your tax key number or your parcel number. Those two terminologies go interchangeable, tax key and parcel. The legal description, and we redacted the property address on this one just for that owner's confidentiality, but it'll have your property location on there. Then there is the assessment years. So there's 2021s and 2022. So as of January 1 of 2021, this was the previous assessment. This 88,400 was the land value, the buildings and improvements, and then the total assessment. Now this building and improvements, that does not mean that you made improvements to your property. That is the portion of your value of the buildings and structures on that property. So the improvements to the land is what that is. So in this notice, the 2022 gives you the new value of the land, the new value for all of those structures or improvements to that land, your house, your garage, your business, depending on what classification it is, etc. And then that total assessment. And then it tells you what that change of assessment is, okay, in dollars. And then below that, it'll have a reason for change. And it'll say what that reason is for land and improvements. In this case, both of these say revalue on them. If it was a new house, it might also say new construction. We use a lot of acronyms because the space is only so big. So if it says something like data core, that means data correction. In many cases, it might say something like COR, core, SF, per elec, and sketch. So what it's saying is basically on our end, we're trying to relay that we drew it electronically in our CAMA system. And so somehow that square footage was altered, usually it's slightly, that previously someone sketched it on paper and hand calculated that math. And now the computer, when we sketch it electronically, will make those corrections and automatically calculate that square footage. Below that, telling you what that reason is, we'll list the open book dates. We'll list the board review dates, and the city's assessor. And this is our main phone number that you would call to contact us to schedule an appointment. And then it also lists the municipal clerk and their phone number, who you would contact if you chose to go the next step beyond open book and attend board review. And then on the notice, it talks about the assessment information. Our assessment date is always January 1 of each year, is how we value properties. And here where it says our assessment level, our general level of assessment, we're estimating it to be 100% because we did revalue this year. And that's our goal, to have your assessment match where that market is, where those sales are telling us it would be. And then at the bottom, it goes into how to appeal your assessment. You know, first discuss it with your assessor, and that's during that open book period. And then to file that formal appeal, that's where you would schedule with the city clerk, at least that 48 hours that I mentioned earlier. And we also list on here, the state creates a guide for property owners each year. And so you can go out and view that. That explains the assessment process, the appeal process, and all of that. We have copies, you know, you can always get a paper copy from us if you need one. We also have that link on our city's website also.
All right. Well, we'll save the rest of the time here, Amy, for understanding. So when you're looking at, no matter, you know, whether we have the example there or you're looking at yours and you're saying, all right, mine went up, that one, it said that the difference there was 63, you know, we'll just say 63 and some change, 1,000 up. And no matter what it is, and I know that's very open because every property, every lot, is different. But when you're looking at an overall trend here, and pick any neighborhood or that example, and somebody sees it goes up and they're like, either A, I didn't do anything to my property, I didn't do anything to my, and they're just generally saying, well, why did it go up then? What is your response?
So typically, if it states it's just revaluation, then that typically means your neighborhood increased that amount, that percentage. So when we analyze the sales, we'll look at the new sale prices of those properties that sold compared to that last assessment. And let's say all of those sales within a neighborhood are showing us that neighborhood, the last assessment is 10% less than what those sales are coming in. Then we'll apply a 10% market adjustment to that neighborhood to bring things in line with where those sales are. We don't chase a sale, so we're not supposed to do that. So we shouldn't be setting it exactly at that sale price because you lose uniformity by doing that. You know, you might have 5 condos that are all the same, but buyers and sellers have different reasons for taking the price they do. So you might have 5 condos and one might sell for $300,000, one for $310,000, one for $305,000, one for $298,000, and one for $300,000 again. So we'll take that average and maybe all 5 will come in at $302,000, because the principle behind assessments, it's done for ad valorem tax purposes, and they should all be equitable if they are truly the same property. Sometimes property owner will say, my house is just like my neighbor's. You know, why is mine higher than my neighbor's? And then when we look at it, it's not just like your neighbor's. Your neighbor's is 2 stories and yours is 1 story. You have 2,000 square feet on first floor and 2,000 square feet of a basement, whereas they have 1,000 feet of a basement, 1,000 of first and 1,000 of second. So they're not the same, and that means their assessments, what we see is the sales tell us that they don't sell the same. Even though it's both 1,000 square feet, they don't sell the same. So we really let those sales talk to us, and that's what we're doing. We're analyzing what that market did and what our buyers and sellers are doing.
All right, Amy. Well, we didn't get to everything that we were hoping to today, but scratching the surface here a little bit on what's going on here behind the scenes, I think is awesome. I appreciate your time. I know it's very busy. Thank you to all your staff for your hard work. You're here to listen. You're here to answer questions, and please, I come to Amy all the time. I don't even live in Fitchburg, and I come to Amy and say, "Hey, Amy, can you explain this to me?" And the team is awesome. So, Amy, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll look forward to getting you back on again real soon. But appreciate it. Check the website for more information. You got a mailer in the mail that had some frequently asked questions. The website has great questions. Again, schedule a time to during this open book period to talk with the assessor and learn a little bit more. So every property is unique, but you'll keep up the good work, Amy.
All right, thank you for putting this out there for our property owners.
You betcha. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihavepprediabetes.org.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today for the Better Business Bureau right here in Southern Wisconsin. It's our friend Tiffany Schultz. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm getting ready to send my kids back to school.
Yes, and you're helping us out all this month with back to school tips. Each week, we're going to talk to you about different things to get you ready for school, get your kids prep for school, whether they're going to kindergarten 4K all the way to the college student. We've got tips here, and we're going to start today with tips to avoid ID theft on campus. ID theft. It's bigger than, because we've talked about it so many times in different ways, but it's definitely something when you just get into college, it's like probably the last thing you're thinking about as a college student, but everybody's susceptible to ID theft.
Right. We're all susceptible. We're all vulnerable, and we need to keep our personal documents secure. And that starts with your personal mail. You know, you're moving into a dorm. Maybe the mailboxes aren't as secure as they should be. Maybe more people have access if you're living with roommates. Your mail goes on the table. You don't know who is taking that mail, who has access to the mail. You want to keep your personal mail, your sensitive mail secure. And that might mean sending it to your home mailbox. If you can send it to your parents' house, it's a really secure means rather than using a mailbox that's on campus or just, having a roommate bring in the mail and leaving it on the kitchen table. So really think about where your mail is going.
This next one's interesting because I wouldn't even have thought about it, but storing your important documents safely. If you're staying at a house with multiple people in it and you leave that bank statement out, you never know.
Right. That includes your bank statement, your social security card, your passport, your driver's license, all of those documents. You want to keep those secure. Do you have a safe in your dorm room or in the home that you're renting? Another idea is to send them back to your parents' house. You're likely not going to need your passport on campus. You can send your banking statements, get them delivered digitally. That's a whole nother can of worms there. If they're being delivered digitally, you want to make sure that you have secure access to them too, and that nobody has your password. So really think about how you're receiving those documents and where you're storing those documents. And when you're done with those documents, it's super important if they're in paper form that they get shredded. We have an upcoming shredding event in September, so watch for more details. You can shred your sensitive documents completely for free.
Yeah, it's such a good thing to do. It goes right along with recycling too. So there's a lot of events like that around. Next one, and this gets a little bit easier, but also I'll ask you a side question when you're talking about moving money digitally, because there's still some risk in that too. But borrowing that debit card or credit card or whatever, so somebody can go and buy something for you, probably not a good idea.
Don't give your friend or roommate your debit card to go pick up the pizza. Don't borrow that sensitive information out. You want to treat it exactly like cash. Only keep it to yourself. Don't share PIN numbers. Don't share cards. If your card does get compromised, you want to make sure that you contact your bank immediately to get a replacement. But super important to keep that locked up too. Don't leave it on the kitchen table. Put it in a safe when you're not using it.
Yeah, I guess that's what every college. I guess we'll put it away. No, it's a really good thing. And the secondary question of that is if you're thinking about using Venmo or something, there is some risk to that too. So definitely know what you're using. Know the terms to using those transfer of money accounts. Correct.
Digital wallets are super convenient, easy way to share checks, easy way to transfer money between roommates, possibly for rent, for groceries, you go out for drinks or dinner, but it does come with some risk. So there's certain things that you can do to keep yourself safe. I always like to say, if you're going to use Venmo, set up a separate account and put a small amount of money in that account to use for Venmo, because if it does get compromised, you're not dealing with possibly losing a few $1,000s into another account. You should also turn off the public feed. Scammers like to go ahead and look at that public feed and entice you and try to impose as your friend to get you to send money to them. So be very careful when you're using those money transfer apps.
Yeah, it's like another way to like give out free money there. You got to be careful about that for sure. Next one is watching for phishing. You kind of mentioned a little bit about it. We've got scammers out there watching for anything and everything, but we know college students are a direct target of phishing scams.
We get lots of emails every day. And as a college student, you're probably going to be issued an email with a .edu address. And unfortunately, bad emails do get through. Phishing emails get through once in a while. And there's imposters that pose as national retailers. It looks legitimate. It sounds legitimate. If you look at the email, it may have the company logo in it and it's asking you to click on a link. Before you go ahead and click on any link, you want to make sure that the email is legitimate. And you can start by checking in the email address box. If it's coming from the retailer, it's going to have a retailer address. It's not going to have something like 123456.com or something like that. So that's the first thing to do. But hover over that link, see where it actually goes. If it's going to a site that you don't recognize, don't click on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one too kind of follows some of those same lines. And better protecting yourself with up-to-date antivirus and spy software. Again, you might not have your parents doing this anymore for you, or whatever the case may be. You want to keep these things up to date because you'll be open to identity theft in different ways if you don't protect yourself.
We live in a digital world. We have our phones on us all the time. I mean, my computer just dinged in right now. It has, and it's not an update. It's just a news story, but we get updates all the time on our devices, and it wants us to go ahead and download those. And you know what? They can be pesky. Oh, I don't have time to deal with that right now. That's going to take 10 minutes of my time. I really got to get this done. It's super important that you take that update as soon as it's available, because it's going to have patches and security apps in there that are meant to secure your device more so than they have been in the past. So take those updates as soon as you can.
Finally, double checking, you say check your credit and debit card statements. Why is that so important?
If scammers get a hold of your debit or credit card, they can easily go ahead and charge things, and they'll show up on your bank account. They'll show up on that, piece of paper that you get or your digital listing. So many people don't check their bank statements every month. And it's important that you do, because scammers are banking that you don't. They don't want you to see those charges. And it might be $20 here, $50 there, and you're not aware of it. Oh, you look at your bank balance and it looks like it should be, but it may not be what it should be. So make sure that you're going over those bank statements, either digitally or paper version, with a fine tooth comb, and that every transaction on there should be on there.
All right, Tiffany, some great information. If people want to learn more, to share tips with their family members, friends, whomever, where can they learn and find more?
Head on over to bbb.org.
All right, Tiffany, thank you so much. We're going to check back with you again next week on some more back to school tips, tricks, and more. So appreciate your time. We'll see you then.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Tiffany Schultz, Better Business Bureau. Check out bbb.org for more information. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
Como padre, todos los días son un desafío. Y hay que estar ahí presentes. No importa lo cansado que uno esté, hay que estar ahí presentes para ellos. Cuando los niños aprenden algo nuevo, es ese momento mágico y especial. Y creo que presenciar ese momento es mi favorito.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year. And lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region, too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why?
I'm high.
Oh.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show for the day. I want to thank Amy Mercer from our Assessors Department helping us out. We'll have another part to our interview coming up, and the full interview will be available online. Plus, thank you to Tiffany Schultz for her help on Back to School. We'll have more Back to School safety tips all month long here on Talking Fitchburg. As you wrap up, remember you can stay connected with Fact TV right here on your screen. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Like us, won't you? And have a good evening, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow.